Hi, it's Rupert Hine here from Action Coach Nick Kinross, and I'm joined today by Nish Sharma of Rosslyn Distillery and Rutland Square Spirits. Hi, Nish.
Hello, Rupert. How are you?
Very good. So, two spirits businesses. Tell us what are they about, and how did you come to set them up?
Yes, it's exciting times for us. Two separate entities. We started our journey with Rutland Square Spirits. Journey started in 2016. Uh, I was been in banking for 11 years. Um, Worked with banks like BlackRock, Lloyd's, Scottish Widows Investment Partnership, and I came a point in my life where I was bored doing what I was doing, and I was in India for my grandmother's funeral, and I had a moment of awakening. Let's call it. In Indian culture, we cremate, and it was my first experience to cremation with a family member. And during the process, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather, who was mourning his wife. Through that journey, I learned a lot about my family, which we have been hearing growing up, but we ignored it because it was boring back then. We were not interested. But at this particular trip, I really connected with my grandfather, and the journey of Rutland Square Spirit started. So just to dive a little deeper, my great grandfather started the whole spirits journey in British India. He was a migrant from the northwest part of India to the northeast because there was a tea revolution going on, and Brits were introducing tea. They had introduced tea long back, but it was kind of booming back then. And he didn't want it to be uh, a humble farmer and a landlord like his father. He wanted more because he was little educated. He could speak English, and he thought he could do more with the skills he had. And he took a long, I think, 2 weeks journey back then. You had to travel from train, planes, and automobiles. Well, no planes, just trains and automobiles. And he landed to this small town called Dibrugarh, which is the tea capital of India, Assam. He found himself a job in a tea estate for an English lord. He meets a Scottish officer who is a guard at the door. They both come together for the love of making moonshine, avid moonshiners, and they decided to fill a gap. Alcohol brings us all together. And the similar thing happened with them. They started moonshining. He would do the Punjabi moonshining, which is the Northwest pressure cooker, jaggery moonshining that they would do, and he would do the actual Scottish moonshining. And they saw a gap in the market. Scotch single malt whiskey was not allowed to be sold to the common man. It was a rich man's drink. Only people who had access to the market would buy it. And they thought, how about we use our skills, blend the whiskey, mix a drop of scotch, and sell it to the common man as Indian blended scotch without getting in trouble. And that started the spirits journey in the family.
Fantastic. I mean, that's a real story of entrepreneurship that's come down through the generations.
It is, yes, three generation into the family. That enterprise died after the UK and India divorce. My family couldn't procure an alcohol license, but we had wine shops and take us, they call it. It's evening drinking, unlicensed bars, and people would come and they would buy the local spirit, unregulated, not so legal, and they would consume alcohol because this is how the land rolled back then. And when things started to mature, they diversified into tea, they went into transportation, and my grandfather and father had a great life. They never expanded the business because they were very comfortable in what the great grandfather left them. So nothing trickled down to us. So I had to restart the forge.
So you're in India. You've had your reawakening.
Yes,
You're in banking in the UK,
yes.
and you decide to have a career change.
I had one of the most abrupt start. We had a brand new baby. in the house. I come back from my 2 weeks of experiencing the death in the family, um, and that changed me in a way that I came back and I handed my notice straight away, and my wife was worried and concerned. Why would you leave a good five-figure job, a day rate contractor with BlackRock, and HSBC, sorry, was my last contract, and day rate contractor working on the biggest transformation project, and I abruptly hand my notice, and that puts chills through my wife's spine. It's like, we got a brand new baby in the house. You have a mortgage. What's going through? And I said, listen, I'm going through something just now. I need to live this through. And I chipped in every single penny I've ever saved, maxed out all my credit cards, every single overdraft, whatever I had, and partnered with a design agency to bring this idea to life. Whiskey was what I wanted to do from day one, but I couldn't do whiskey because it needs more zeros. The savings I had, so I decided there was a gin wave back then.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing gin. Gin's easy to make, and I thought, how about I start the process through gin because it'll teach me the laws of the land, how to sell alcohol. I do My family had alcohol business India in the 1930s and 40s. Here I am in 2000s and 21st century. We don't know how alcohol is sold and how it's procured and how it's made. So it was an exercise, it was a learning journey.
Yeah. So you've decided you're going to start the spirits business. What was your vision? There's loads of small craft distilleries and spirits businesses who set up. How are you different?
I'll answer the first thing. What was the vision? The vision was whiskey from day one. There was I wanted to pay homage to my past and pay homage to my present, which is Edinburgh. Edinburgh has been home for 18 years now. I migrated to Edinburgh from India when I was a little teenager boy. And I've lived 3, 4 years in Glasgow, and then my wife, now then partner, dragged me to Edinburgh, and Edinburgh has been home. So during the inception days, it was always about how do I merge these two parts of my life together, because I need to pay homage to my great grandfather, the reason I'm doing this. And I live in the Mecca of Spirits, and also my home, which is feeding me for so many years. It has to, pay respects to my today. These were the base concepts I had, and couldn't do whiskey, didn't have the money, still don't have it, but we're still trying. Um, and gin was the only spirit I had some understanding of. I loved the G&T, and I thought I should do something I love to drink. Um, Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. Um, and then the G&T journey started. And so, there's a saying, um, ignorance is bliss. I was ignorant, I was naive. I walked into a pit of and a world which is run and ruled by the sharks. The boys like Diageo's and Pinot Ricard. I had no understanding what market share is. I had no understanding how you capture a shelf space. I thought I'll make a most beautiful, love looking and tasting gin to the best of my ability, and people will just scoop it from the shelf. This is how I started, but it didn't go that way.
So you're starting off and you've discovered that I guess you've got a marketing challenge. You've produced this phenomenal gin. Um, you're enjoying it. you, you follow good advice. You're doing something you love, but you've got to get people to buy it.
Right.
How did you attack that challenge?
I think before even we got to this challenge, the biggest challenge was how to put a liquid in a bottle. Should I set up a distillery? Is how I started, and soon realized if I put all my eggs in one basket, I will have no product, because setting up a distillery is not only a financial challenge, but then running the distillery is a secondary challenge. So a smart guy I met through this journey, and he said, "Why don't you test your waters by white labeling?" I had no idea what white labeling was. I'd never heard of the word white labeling before. And I met somebody at an intern program at Queen Margaret University, because through my banking journey, we had a lot of interns coming from these university to, start their journey. And somebody told me, Queen Margaret University and Harriet Watt have a distillation program. You should look into this. And was my starting ground to understand. Never went on a course. I just met people. I met a lot of people in order to understand. And I was at Sainsbury's and I picked up a bottle of gin called Pickering's. It said a Bombay recipe they had, 1940 something. That caught my attention. I was like, there is a gin with Bombay influence in it, which connected my Indian heritage. Picked up the gin, loved the gin. I have been reaching out to people to collect quotations for white labeling, and I think something clicked. These guys were spot on. They didn't waste time. They came back with the most robust mm, quotation. We did a bit of a negotiation. Went to meet Matt, to the point guy, no BS. He, you want to do it? How many? What? We started working together to create a recipe. I downloaded every single piece of information on what needs to influence the gin. What am I trying to bring to the table? It has to be a cultural influence. Taste profile has to be a certain type, because we are trying to target a segment which has never been targeted at. Indian restaurants were on the table because everybody does curries and pints. We wanted to change that. We were fueled with the power of revolution, that we are going to change the gin world. Before all hanged, the emotions came down after the product was in the market and people didn't pick up a bottle. But this was the laying ground of how we started. And yes, it came to market, and then I realized, oh, people don't buy just from your website. You have to go sell it to people, and then the door-to-door selling started. And in my little humble car, I started selling it to one restaurant to another restaurant. A lot of rejections, and then we started getting some traction. And this is how the roadmap created.
Yeah. Fantastic. You've got the you've got the gin business off
Yeah.
the ground. Where does the latest venture, Rosslyn Distillery, come into?
So, as I said, whiskey was very much part of the dream. It still is the dream. Um, and Sorry, I just got a message here. Apologies. So, whiskey was very much part of the dream. Through the journey that I took, um, whiskey was growing in the back of my mind. I was meeting a lot of investors through this journey, and nobody was interested in investing in gin. And every time we would have this discussion about investing, and I would say the long-term plan is to have a whiskey distillery, that would create an hook. Um, and also, ignorance, you call it. When I started this journey, all I wanted to raise was £100,000. Um, and then soon realized that if you're asking more money, people are engaged. If you're asking £100,000, it's a smaller ask for people, and people are not interested in doing small business. Because I had a little banking background myself, I started meeting my private equity guys, bouncing my idea with them, and they said, Nish, you should start your whiskey journey now, sooner rather than later. You have a spirits portfolio, you have a gin, you're thinking of adding another product to the line, and why don't you start gin now? I said, sorry, whiskey now. And I said, okay, let's do that. And I started a new pitch deck. I had a high level idea. Sustainably had to be part of the journey. And then I started pitching whiskey as part of the larger offering. Like the gin and the rum exist, but we will give you whiskey. Uh, let's come on the journey. And that started engaging a lot of people with money. And then slowly we created a roadmap. We refined the roadmap as we met people, advisor, influencers, met a lot of whiskey distillers. They're already in the market, looked at their challenges, looked at their proposal and offering, and then we decided we are very clear in what we want to bring to the table. We wanted to fill a gap, and the whiskey journey started. And Roslyn Distillery was born.
So, so for those who haven't got an in-depth understanding of the spirits industry, why is whiskey so much harder to get going in than gin?
It's a capital intensive business. It requires a lot of capex, initial capex to go in. You need to buy the land. You need to hire a professional architect. You need to have planning. There are a lot of wheels to the journey, to the road. So, which requires a lot of capital, and it's and um, how do I put it? You don't see a return on investment from day one. When investors like to invest into something, um, they would like an ROI almost straight away. Like if you buy a house, you put it on a rent, and at least you're getting some sort of return on your investment. Where whiskey, you spend millions and millions of pounds. The cheapest of whiskey distillery starts at 25 mil. This is 1 million liter LPA. You can do smaller, but if you're looking to create something exciting, you need to have a minimum of 1 million LPA. Um, you are looking to do that capex, and as per the Scottish law, um, you don't call your new make spirit a whiskey for the first 3 years, and nobody's interested in a 4-year-old whiskey. So it's year five onwards where people like to buy whiskey or invest in a bottle of whiskey. So yeah, you're not seeing light of money for first 5 years. That's a very risky investment to have. If you're investing your hard-earned cash or your capital into a project, you would like to see some sort of returns. This is why um, it's not that easy.
I mean, it's an interesting it's an interesting business to start thinking about. Where you've got something like the gin, you produce the gin, it comes out of the tap at the end of the plant, and you can pretty much put it in a glass and drink it or
Correct.
sell it. Your whiskey does the same thing. You stick it in a cask, and it's going to sit there for 5 years,
Yeah,
and you don't even know what the taste's going to be until it's come out of that flask at the end.
that's right. There's
Um,
a lot of uncertainty.
yeah.
You can do your best, bring the best minds in the world. You don't know, you still don't know what your liquid's gonna taste like. Will it be accepted? It's that dark corner you are always in, because you don't know, even if you create the most beautiful looking bottle, if you're not repeating, you are not going to see the light next day. So there's a lot of risk to it.
So yeah, I mean, you talked about the fact that when you started the spirit journey, you handed your notice in. You've got a mortgage. You've got a young baby. You've got a mildly nervous wife who's slightly worried about how you can make all the payments. You've built that up. You've now started off down the whiskey distilling route, where you've got another whole bunch of uncertainty. How do you manage that level of risk, uncertainty personally?
First of all, I would like to say I had a great support system. though my wife was really nervous about the risks I was taking, putting all my eggs in this basket full of gin, um, depleting our savings, living on one income, which was her income. She was supportive, like all good wives. She had challenges, but though she would say I should not do it, but in the back of her head, through her support, which I saw, like, keep going, she would say, okay, do it for another 6 months and see how it goes. And then those 6 months will go, and she, don't worry, we'll see another 6 months and see how it goes. So she had always been supportive, and that helped. Second thing is, I think I am not a religious person. Um, my family come from a Hindu background, but I've been the worst Hindu my family have seen. I don't follow any of the norms. I respect their views. I think now slowly I'm turning into a spiritual person, and through this journey, when things were tough, something will give me that power to keep going. That's my phone that started to ring. Yeah, apologies. Um, so something will fuel me to say, let's take another day. Let's look at another day, and that another day will turn into a week. That week will turn into a month, and somehow I found a way out. There was a time in the gin journey where everybody said you should shut doors. I had a heart attack at a tender age of 34. Yes, I have not lived a great lifestyle because I have been so driven by making this happen. I lost interest in everything that I enjoyed, playing a sport, going out. I think it became my primary focus became building this dream from the ground up because I had nobody from the spirits business alive to guide me. The ones who started have long left the planet. I was all by myself. So I had this, call it the fuel from the fire of that cremation my grandmother had after her passing. Um, that fueled me, when I saw that I'm going to end up like that one day. We have limited amount of time on this planet. Let's do something meaningful. How long can we play safe? What will happen if I lose all the money I have? I can still go find a job because nobody can take my skills away. I can make that money back. I can pay every single individual I own that money back. So I'm blessed that I have all the limbs intact to go forge iron, go clean dishes, be a waiter where I started during my education days. When I came to this country, my first job was a dishwasher and a waiter. So I have those skills. Nobody can steal those skills from me. So that fueled me to say, okay, even in the worst case scenario, I can ask my investors and say, give me some time and I'll pay everybody back. That was the principle I was working on, that no matter what, people are investing in me with their hard-earned money, I have to make them money. And the harder I worked, and then people joined and it grew and it grew. Something kept us alive and it's still keeping us alive. And that vision started from 100,000 pounds to 100 million pounds. We are fueled by the same power.
So, so where are we going to see your businesses in 10 years' time?
Our roadmap is really clear. Jin has a new brother, Rum, which we have launched in the Southeast Asian markets. Product goes on shelf next month, and that will be the starting ground. We are expanding into 5 countries now, three already listed. We just signed a deal with one of the biggest travel retail partners in India. We have just concluded our contracts with another biggest travel retail partner in Emirates. We're going Singapore in March. We're going Hong Kong. in May. Fiji Island. That just came to me as a surprise. Somebody reached out to me and say, "I saw your product in London, and I would like to bring it to Fiji." And I'd never thought about Fiji Island. Now we are going to Fiji Island. A container is leaving soon for Fiji Island. So we are slowly expanding our footprint where people said this product is not going to see the light in next 6 months. You will shut down. Every single funding body rejected us. Every single food and beverage supporter in Scotland and England said it's a boring business. It's on a downward journey. So we have outperformed. We are soon going to be a five-figure business. Um, uh, what does the future lie? Whiskey, as I said, from day one, whiskey has been the dream. I cannot give a lot of information on whiskey because it's confidential, but there is a whiskey distillery coming in Midlothian. I can say that for sure. We have planning for 140 bedroom hotel. We wanted to mitigate the risk of not seeing an ROI with most distilleries are notorious for. We have one of the biggest brands as operating partners, who will be a five-star luxury hotel with an Ayurvedic wellness center, with wedding venue and a couple of good restaurants on site. Um, we have planning for 140 bedrooms. We are looking to push it to 200 bedrooms. That's what the operator wants. We will have a net zero whiskey distillery on the ground, awaiting planning. This is where we are at. We have some very interesting investors on board with some very exciting distribution businesses within their portfolio that will help us with route to market. That is helping us with route to market in our current gin and rum portfolio. We are looking to add few more spirits under the Rutland Square Spirits realm, which is the cash drivers, the shelf space holders, and then we will most likely to break ground by quarter 3, quarter 4 this year, start the construction of the hotel, to 18 to 20 months to complete that. And then in between, once the whiskey distillery comes through, we will have a 2 million liter LPA, sustainable. Uh, we are aiming for hydrogen. That's what we are really keen on. But it's not a technology easily accessible. A lot of distilleries have tried, that have failed. We are trying to work in a way where we can source our hydrogen in-house, fuel it, create it, and then power our heat pumps and our stills and use the heat to fuel the entire hotel, which will save us at least a good couple of million in electricity bill every year. So we are doing things which are exciting, which are new age, which are futuristic, which will not only give us the first mover advantage to set example for the big players to create something that is sustainable, 100% net zero, and a business model that's workable where hotel drives your revenues from day one after completion, and then whiskey takes its time as it always takes to grow.
Fantastic. It's a thoroughly inspiring and exciting story. It really is. What's the one bit of advice that you would give your 18-year-old self setting out on your business career?
I have actually thought about this. I think about this most days. I would definitely, if I have a time machine to go back, and I'll say start now. Don't wait for uh, it's great to work and gain experience. What I have learned washing dishes, I have learned more than being a banker. The people management skills, the interaction skills, my job at these big banks have been amazing. I've made some great friends, but it has been mostly bound by my computer screen, in front of my computer screen, doing my 9 to 5, and then catching up with people on lunch. It has been very isolating. But where I was wiping floors and picking up plates, I was interacting with people. Some of the people I have on my cap table are from those days. So none of my private equity guys invested in me. These are the people who were my guests, who came and gave me a 20 pound to 30 pound tips, have invested in my business. So my advice to myself would be start early, fail, learn from your failure, start again, fail. The more you fail, the more you learn. Always respect people and their advice, because people, those who have done it, they are saying it, and only people that say it or give you good advice is people who want good in you, who want you to grow and believe in yourself. Um, that would be my advice to myself.
Fantastic. Well, what a great set of advice. Well, thanks so much for sharing all of that with us today,
Well, thank you,
and
Deepak, for having me.
wish you all the fortune
No,
for the future. And I'll
I-
look forward to raising a glass of whiskey with you
absolutely. We are looking
when
forward to.
it's ready.
We will be definitely looking forward having you on the opening of our hotel. And yes, we will be definitely sharing a dram together. Thank you. Amazing report. Thank you again. Have a good day.